Hi guys, as you can see here, this is as you were asking during classes about the parenting, parent constraint. Here is how you do it. I'll show you the sample first. This is what we came out with. Okay, as you can see, the difficulties sometimes that you have to go and amend and polish this kind of movement as it switches off and so on and so forth. And yeah, right now with the normal shift P, which is P for Penang or P for point or whatever not, right? So you can see the blend parent with the common one, you won't see this, the blend parent, much as you can see here if you were to use this parent constraint here. When you go to your animation shelf, there is this particular link here, icon here that says parent constraint. Okay, so yeah, this is a sample. I'll upload this file as well for you guys to have a look at. Okay, so let us start from a fresh new scene. So I'm just going to open up a new scene, so save and then kapush. Okay, so this is the common parenting that we did, straightforward parenting to the arm to the hand, where the hand drives the weapon, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to repost this dude. I'm just going to open this dude, go to clean, yes, and then pose, reset. So everything is reset, and just in case I'm just going to choose everything and I'm going to delete this animation information. Okay, so if I were to use this particular weapon, for instance, or any other weapons, so as given to you guys, I'm going to shift P to unparent this dude in this particular weapon so that it doesn't get involved in any rotation information or whatever not, right? So it's free now. I'm just going to show you exactly how it is done. Excuse me, I'm having this trouble with my cough, with my throat and so on and so forth. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how this parenting is going to work. Okay, I'm just going to post this dude somewhere there, quick post, blah blah blah, done. And I'm going to just create this position for this dude, the weapon, for instance. I'm just going to show you a simple one. The rest you can have a look at when you're looking at the sample, the file that I'm going to upload together with this tutorial, so you can play with it. Okay, right here, the one thing that you need to know is when you're having this kind of targeting as well, so you can always change this pivot point to where it's supposed to drive first before you do your parenting. The reason why being is every time you parent it, it will read the initial pivot point, or they call drive by itself. So I would strongly suggest that you go to this dude and locate it wherever it is supposed to rotate the weapon instead. See that? So if it's sticking to the ground, so you locate the manipulator where it's supposed to land the blade on, so that it makes sense. Okay, have some logic. Okay, so once that is done, for instance, this is a sample, so this is going to stick on the ground. If you need a ground, just go to polymodeling shelf, create a plane, R4 scale, make it big, longer, or whatever not, so it's easier for you to see. Open up. I'm just going to off this division, so that's one easy. Okay, What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set a key for this dude. Alright, and I'm just going to show you a very simple animation. I'm not going to do something really drastic. This is just for the purpose of showing, so that you guys get the understanding of how the parenting really works. I'm just going to move this dude here, and I'm going to use this dude to curl, or maybe I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to just move it somewhere there. I'm going to cup it, okay, and I'm going to use the middle finger. I'm just going to do a quick one here, just for the purpose of seeing. Of course, there's a lot of limitations here. If you look at, alright, the hands of the character is a little bit short. Okay, so yeah, you can adjust it along the way. This comes when you're doing your polishing and so on and so forth. First do the blockouts so that you get the understanding how the mechanism works. Then we can move on to polishing stage and so on and so forth. I'm just going to quickly pause it. Okay, now if you were to see the hammer, the axe, sorry, the axe is supposed to drive the weight or drive the hands movement, because it is stuck on the ground, and you need to adjust it accordingly so that it makes sense instead of the common parenting. So now once I've positioned it some sort like that, for instance, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this dude. Okay, parenting constraint, you have to choose the driver, you have to choose the child child driver, the co-driver, and then you go here to your animation tab, shelf here, and then look for the constraint, parent constraint, whichever that has this chain link, that is a constraint. So I'm just going to constrain it. So once I constrain it, first I won't see anything here on the channel box. But once I have already strained it, so you can see here everything is blended is there, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. You see this XWO, that indicates the parenting is already be done. Alright, so now do double check. You just have to move this dude. See that? Everything moves. Okay, now it is linked. So when you go to next few frames and then you do another keyframe, and this time I am going to animate this dude. Before I do that, I'll key it. I'll key this dude, and I'll go to frame 7, and now I will move this over, and now pick this and on this I can now move the character around with the weight of the weapon. Okay, see that? So I'm going to move something like that for an example. So what happens if I'm going to off this movement? So now you won't see much, because for some reason it does not show here on the okay, I'm gonna just press S, and then I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna press 1. or here I'll just press 1. Okay, so I'm going to set a key here. I click set. I'm going to select this and then set key by pressing S, and now I can off this. Alright, see that? So okay, just to recap, alright, if you were to see this blend parent here, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you work with this dude. Okay, see this under the channel box, you'll see brace parent constraint 1. Okay, what happens here, you have to put on the X located WO a weight. Alright, if it's 1, it indicates that it's a weight where it's going to drive the hand. Okay, while clicking on the wrist, because it is now parented to the hand. So if you want to go back to the original, then you just have to just put 0 first, just to pop up this blend parent. So once this pops up, this blend parents pop up, now it's easier for you to on and off the blend parent anytime that you want, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a very straightforward thingy. Okay, the problem with this is, like I said before during our class, is whenever you want to have this kind of blend parent, you see the parent will have a weird what they call weird transformation happening, because it is locked. See that? Because it is locked, it will choose the exact, or it will choose that particular position. You see that? It will have a weird looking hand. Alright, so in order for you to go and adjust this, you have to go ahead, and during polishing you have to adjust each of these rotations so that it makes sense. Okay, it is a little bit of limitation. See that? You can see this part here, it's a bit awkward. It's a little bit limitation whenever you're doing like with characters as such, because the hand is a little bit more shorter, and as well as it's too obvious when you're looking at the wrist, and especially when the hand is moving this in this direction, you won't see the you'll see the rotation is a bit awkward. Alright, so in order for you to adjust this, you have to go the in between keys and then adjust, not for each and every frame, but approximately to a certain frames to, or the mid frames, to go and adjust the rotation so that it makes sense on the it makes what they call it doesn't look awkward in terms of its rotation or its what they call it, positioning. Right, the mesh doesn't impede one to another, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's as simple as we can go. So hopefully this this particular tutorial just explains how you can do your parenting and so on and so forth. Okay, so anytime that you want to do parenting, you can parent everything anywhere. Like for instance, if I want to parent this to this, I can just use this, bam, or I can choose this and this and parent constraint. So now if you see, the hand is stuck on the movement instead of the other common movement, and so on and so forth. Okay, so but whenever you want to parent constraint to the existing controllers, just be aware that it wouldn't it's going to be confusing, because if you tend to oversee that the constraint is properly linked and so on and so forth. And I would strongly suggest that you create a locator by pressing this plus here. Then you link that first to the existing controller, and then use that as a driver for the hand constraint. Okay, so yeah, this is as simple as we can go. Alright, hopefully it helps. I know it's a little bit delayed on this, but yeah, this is how you do it, right? And another thing that you might want to know is when you have like a duplication, or if you want to have like double locator, if normally, like for instance, if you want to create or duplicate a locator from here, what happens is when I press Ctrl D, see what happens? It will recreate another object based on the selected or the current frame that you duplicated, the original duplication frame. Okay, so if you want to do another duplication, how you can do it is you can just move on to the spot where the hand is going to release the weapon, or so on and so forth, or you want to replace it with another weapon. You can do that by choosing the exact position where the rest of the weapon is going to be placed. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Okay, if you want another locator, it's very easy. If you want to do a duplication right now, with this locator, it is just going to move on and off like that, and it's quite difficult for you to amend it again and again. I mean, if you want to amend it back to a proper position and so on and so forth, it's going to be quite difficult. So my advice is, before you do an animation, or if you want both the hands to have, like for instance, one locator here and another locator right on top, like for instance here you have two locators, one is for right hand and the other one is for the left hand, whichever not. If you want to have both the hands to hold it, like for instance for this dude, so you want to have, normally it's like one hand to another. If you want to have like both hands holding offsets on the particular weapon, then I would strongly advise either you do it on the initial weapon position and then duplicate the locator instead of doing it when you have already positioned it. So you have to identify how you want to have the weapon to be moving in the animation with your character. Okay, so if you can't do this, it's if let's say if you have an issue whereby you want to have, I'm just going to undo this a little bit. Okay, if you have an issue where you're going to have, like for instance, I'm just going to delete this too. If you have like an instance, if you have a situation where you're going to have another locator for this weapon, you in need of another locator. If it's very difficult, you just have to create a locator. Okay, for this, pick a locator. If you can't see this under animation, so what you can do is make sure that you're under animation here and go and look for constraints. Go and look for give me a moment. Create a locator. There you go. Create a locator, click on it, and then bring it over and create a brand new one. Move it to the exact position by holding V for Venice, for it to snap on the vertices, alright, or C, which is along the edge. You can just position it along the edge, or you can just move it. I'm holding this. You see, if it's on that particular object, it will just move or slide along the edges. If you want to do that, you can just do that via by clicking C, right? So you move it around and then rotate it accordingly and recreate another locator. And then again, this is straightforward. Pick this weapon and you can parent it. So when I move this, then it's stuck there, right? Then you can shift this position of this over and over again wherever you want, or by holding C, you can just drag it along so it shifts, or you can animate like that instead. Alright, so yeah, I hope it solves the this particular circumstances that you are going to face later on when you're doing your polishing, or if you in the future if you intend to do any characters with weapons and so on and so forth, any props that you want to attach to. Alright, so hope it helps, and best of luck. Alright.